Hello, I'm Will and this is Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And in this video we'll be looking at issue 64 of Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol magazine, which came with the first part of a unit of 10 Neophyte Hybrids for the Genestealer Cults Combat Patrol. We'll be finishing that in the next issue, but in this episode's game, we'll have another Combat Patrol campaign game between the Chaos Space Marines and the Tyranids. So inside the issue we have the build guide for the Neophyte Hybrids. There are lots of choices of heads for this unit, so you can put whichever ones you want on whatever models you like, but the loadout is fixed for the Combat Patrol, so although there are many weapon options, if you want to follow the Combat Patrol one, then follow these instructions. So starting with the leader, who's armed with a pistol, which can actually be one of several pistols. They will have the same stats, and the same with the melee weapon, you have a couple of choices. In this case they go for the web pistol and a power pick, and then the rest of the hybrids. There is one here with a cult icon, which doesn't actually have any rules in Combat Patrol, but looks quite cool and does if you use these in the full game. Then for heavy weapons, there is a seismic cannon and a heavy stubber, and a Weber special weapon as well. Again, you have multiple options here, but these are the ones in the Combat Patrol rules. And the rest just then have firearms, of which there's quite a wide selection of shotguns and autoguns to choose from. They have the same rules, so you can pick whichever ones you like best. Although I do note that some of the hybrids are a bit more alien-looking than the others. They have a slightly more hunched posture, more alien-looking heads, and clawed hands. So you can either put those all on the same models or mix them up a bit as you see fit. Their painting guide isn't until the next issue, but we do have one where we're adding more colours to some of our other models. So Mephiston Red relayering, and then Wild Rider Red highlights to the Chaos Space Marines. So tabards, eye lenses, weapon hafts, and that sort of thing. As well as the Havoc Champion's top knot. There's a red helmet on one of the Terminator's banner poles. Candles, the Dark Apostles' book, clothing on the Dark Disciples. Then some Caliban green to paint the Astra Militarum helmet on one of the Terminators, and eye lenses on a red helmet. Then some shades on those areas as well. And then highlights on those same areas with Auric flesh, a bit of Stormhost silver, Pallid Witch flesh. And then similar for the Orcs, we've got Mephiston Red to paint their eyes. You'll need a steady hand and a fine point on your brush to do this. And then a light shade of Agrax Earthshade on that. Wild Rider Red highlights on the red areas, like the Warboss's loincloth, bits of the Boomdacker Snazwagon, the Deathcopter's bombs and missiles, cables on some of the vehicles, and eyes and that sort of thing. And then some Wraithbone highlights for the green Orc skin, which does actually look rather harsh on the finished product, but if you like that look, then certainly go ahead and do that. And once again, a gallery of those. Then we have the next part of the Bonds of Honour short story, where Space Marine veteran is telling the tale of the heroics of Sergeant Ascaton. Previously, we'd left them standing in front of an Orc encampment, and now the Orcs are coming out and they're going to have a fight. Which doesn't go so well for the Silver Templars, but then they have some unexpected fortune, which we'll read about in the next instalment, no doubt. Then a bit about Genestealer Cult equipment. Because they are an insurrectionist force, usually on Imperial planets, they tend to make do with whatever equipment and weaponry they can get their hands on, rather than having any formal supply chain or military structure. So quite often they use repurposed mining or industrial equipment, like demolition charges, seismic cannons and mining tools that we've seen on some of our models already. Firearms tend to be stolen or purchased on the black market, so are not always of military grade. Some of them, particularly the more alien hybrids, will use Tyranid biomorphs, such as claws that they grow, or Tyranid weaponry like knives and lash whips and so forth. Finally, the connection article for the Neophyte Hybrids. These are the most human-looking of the Genestealer Cults. These are actually 3rd and 4th generation hybrids, with the 4th generation ones looking the least alien, and as such they're the most able to use human weaponry, particularly firearms and various heavy weaponry. So as usual you can give them a background and record their deeds and when you've built, painted and played with them for the first time. And lastly their datasheets, which we're going over in the next video when we get to see them on the field. But I'll be handing you over to Mike, who will be taking us through which campaign game we're going to be playing.
So there isn't actually that much new rules or mission to play, because we finish off our Neophytes in the next issue and we'll look at their datasheet then. So the only other game content in this issue is the next campaign game, if you're following along with the magazine, which is Eldari versus Leagues of Botan on Clash of Patrols. And on the next page it has the usual victory outcomes for this game and if they've won a campaign victory. But we're actually going to do something slightly different. We're going to be rewinding to issue 55 to have a look at this game, which is Chaos Space Marines v Tyranids, which I don't think we've had as a matchup yet, and this is going to be on Sweeping Raid. So get it set up and get straight into it. So here we are set up for Sweeping Raid. I'll be playing the Tyranids in this game, while Will be playing the Chaos Space Marines. I'll go over my deployment. So from left to right, we've got a unit of Termagants, then the Tyranid Prime, who will have the Psychostatic Veil enhancement, which gives him Lone Operative, a 4+ invulnerable save, and in -1 to be hit in melee. And my secondary objective is going to be Alpha Xenoform, so I get 4 VP every time he kills a model at the end of the phase. Next to him are the Barbed Ones in the cover, the other unit of Termagants, and then down here, infiltrating behind the pink cargo container, are the Bond Ryan Sleepers, and the Psychophage behind them, trying to hide from the Chaos Marine Havocs. And now looking at the Chaos Marine deployment, the left of the screen is the bottom of the board.
So once again, going from left to right, we have half of the Legionary squad with the Dark Apostle, with all the melee marines in it and the melter gun. Then the Hell Brute roughly in the centre, next to the Chaos Havocs, and the other 5 Legionaries at the top of the board. That's all the bolt guns with the heavy bolter. The Dark Apostle's enhancement will be Hateful Exaltation, where at the start of the first battle round I can select an enemy unit, and every time his unit attacks that unit, on a critical wound they improve the AP characteristic by 1. And I'll do the Champion of the Dark Gods secondary objective, where I get 3 VP every time he kills a model.
And a quick recap of Sweeping Raid. The mission rule is that if we control our home objective at the start of our command phase, we get an extra command point on a 4+. In rounds 2, 3 and 4, we score 5 VP for each objective we control, and then at the end of the game, I get 5 VP if I control objective 2, and 10 if I control objective 1, while the Chaos Marines will score 5 if they control objective 3, and 10 if they control objective 4. Now rolling off to see who goes first. Well, I've rolled a 5, so I'm going first, on to Tyranids, turn 1.
Now, at the start of the battle round, I pick target for my Hateful Exaltation, and I'm going to pick the Von Ryan's Leapers, so the Dark Apostle's unit gets extra AP against them.
So you can see my movement. It's mostly staging in this turn. The Ring Tyranid Prime is going to move behind that line of sight blocking terrain in the middle. The unit of Termagants towards the bottom has moved advanced to get onto objective 3, and a few of them will be in range. Von Ryan's Leapers are going to stay where they are. Psychophage has scuttled forward so he can get behind some cover. Termagants at the top moving into cover, and the Barbed Ones are going to stay where they are. Oh, also, I didn't get an extra command point. So the only shooting is 3 of the Termagants are in range of the Dark Apostle squad. Well, the Termagants all missed, and that's going to be the end of my turn. On to Chaos Marines, turn 1.
I did roll the 4+ to gain an extra CP for holding my home objective, which has then of course been secured by the Chaos Marines before they moved off it. The Dark Apostle squad moving towards objective 3, they didn't advance, so can still shoot a little bit. The Hellbrute moving forward at 6 inches, the Havocs shuffling behind it to hopefully gain some protection from the Tyranid Prime in case he tries to charge them, and the other Legionaries moving onto objective 2. I'll start the shooting with the Dark Apostle squad because the Dark Apostle is just about in range and could gain some victory points if he kills a Termagant, and I don't want anything else to shoot them in case those Termagants get pulled out of range. We've also got the Plasma Pistol and the Melter Gun on them.
I think I'm going to use a CP on Hyperactive for those Termagants. I'm not too worried about the other unit.
So we'll start with the Dark Apostle. So this is going to be hitting on 4 with that -1. Oh, we still hit. Wounds on a 3. He did.
With a 5+ save. Made it.
No VP for him. And then we've got a Plasma Gun, which won't be supercharged. Plasma Pistol, rather. That missed. And the Melter Gun hit. And 2 to wound. It did.
That's going to kill a Termagant.
Despite the -1, I'm going to keep shooting at those Termagants because the other ones are in cover. So we'll do the Havocs. Everything will go into those Termagants except the Las Cannon, which will go into the Psychophage. I won't supercharge the Plasma Gun, and the Missile Launcher will fire a Frag Missile. And I'm going to do a Dark Pact to give them sustained hits 1, and also spend a command point for Malicious Volleys so they can reroll hit rolls of 1. So we'll start with the Missile Launcher. It has D6+1 shots because it's a blast weapon. 6. Hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. 3 1s to reroll. 5 hits. Wounding on 3s. Oh, only 1 wound.
With a 5+ armor save. Failed, so lose another Termagant.
Heavy Bolter is already sustained hits 1. And it misses 3 times. No 1s.
Yep.
And the Reaper Chain Cannon has 8 shots. That doesn't get any 6s either, but there are some 1s. Or 6 hits in total, wounding on 3s. Only 3 from that as well.
With 5s, I made them all.
And also the Champion's Plasma Gun missed. And then we have a Las Cannon shot on the Psychophage, which would be on a 3, but rerolling 1s. It did hit. It will wound on a 3. It did, at -3 AP.
But it's got cover from the pipes, so we're on a 5+. Yeah, I'll reroll that. I succeeded.
And then they have to take a leadership test for Dark Pacts. They are leadership 6+, and they roll a 9, so they're fine. I'm not going to shoot with the Hellbrute because shooting at Termagants, the risk of damaging itself with the Hazardous is not worth it. So I'm just going to do the remaining Legionaries. They're also going to shoot at those same Termagants. 8 shots with bolt guns on 4s. I'm not going to do a Dark Pact with these guys. 4 hits, winning on 3s. 3.
5+ saves. Made 1, so that's 2 dead.
And their heavy bolter hits on 4s because it moved, so it's 4s anyway. No sustained, 3s to wound, get them in the box, just 1 at -1 AP.
So the 6+. Oh, I made it.
And that, unfortunately, is the end of my turn. I have only 4 dead termagants to show for it.
So we'll be on to Tyranids turn 2. So in my command phase, I did get an extra CP, so I'm at 2, and I also gained 10 victory points because I hold objective 3 and 4. You can see the movement down here at the bottom of the board. The termagants have advanced to get behind the pink cargo container, essentially swapping places with the von Ryan's Leapers who've come out. Well, the Psychophage is going to try and come with them, and he's just about in range of those Marines. The Barbed Gaunts will stay where they are. While at the top, Tyranid Prime has come out, and those termagants advance and be able to get some of them on objective 2 as well. But on to shooting, I'll start with those termagants, and they will shoot everything at those Chaos Marines. Termagant's got 5 wounds on the Legionaries.
No AP, so 3s. One was cocked. We made them all.
The Barbed Gaunts are only in range of the Hellbrute, so they'll shoot at it, but again, we'll only show the results if they get any wounds. Barbed Gaunts got 2 wounds on the Hellbrute.
2s to save. Just about.
Yep. And even though it's been hit by the Barbed Gaunts, their rule only affects infantry units, so it isn't slowed down. And then the Psychophage is just about in range of the other unit of Marines, so we'll use its torrent weapon on them. D6 automatic hits, 4, strength 6, so wounding on 3s, 3 wounds at AP -1.
It's 4+ saves either armour or invulnerable on the 2 Dark Disciples, and they'll just die first till I fail any of the saves. I failed 1, so we'll lose 1 of the Dark Disciples.
And then we'll be on to the charge phase. I'll start with the von Ryan's Leapers, because they're the most important one. They need a 7, I believe, I measured. So 4 is not enough, so I'll have to re-roll it. Well, they get a 7, that is just about enough. So they get in like that, just about. Psychophage might as well have a go as well. Needs an extremely high roll, more than a 4. And then up at the top, the Tyranid Prime is going to charge the Legionaries next to him. Yeah, he's in with an 8. So in the fight phase, I'm going to pick the von Ryan's Leapers to go first. So we'll pile in, just want to stay away from the Hellbrute. So I'm going to spend a CP to give the von Ryan's Leapers Voracious Assault, so they reroll hits.
And I'm going to spend a CP for Bitter Blows, so if any of the models die, then on a 4+, they can still fight before they're removed.
18 attacks from the Leapers on 3s re-rolling. 16 hits. They're strength 5, so we're wounding on 3s. 12 wounds at -1.
And again, it's all 4+ saves, either the invulnerable save on the remaining Dark Disciple or the Marines with their -1 on their armour. So actually only 4 fails, so we'll lose the Dark Disciple and then a Marine and a half. So I've removed the Dark Disciple and the Marine with the Melter Gun. And those models might actually get to fight on death, so the Dark Disciple does, and the Marine does as well. The Disciple hits on a 4 with 1 attack. Oh, it hit. Wounds on a 5. No. And the Marine with the Melter Gun has 3 attacks that hit on 3s. So he's wounded on 4s because of the Dark Apostle. 2 wounds, no AP.
So 4+ armour saves. Made 1, failed 1, so a Leaper takes a wound. Then I've just got the Tyranid Prime. So 6 attacks from the Tyranid Prime on 2s. 5 hits, wounding on 3s, 3 wounds at AP -1.
4s for Legionaries here as well. Failed all 3 of them this time. I think that's worth the command point reroll so we don't lose 3 in one go. Yes, so we lose 2. And I'll just do those Legionaries first, they're piling in so they're all on the objective. Well, they have 9 attacks, and I'm going to do a Dark Pact to give them lethal hits as well to help them wound the thing. Hitting on 4s because it's -1 in melee. Now, we've got a lethal hit, but otherwise that's a pretty good roll. Wounding on 5s though with the rest of them. 2, so 3 wounds in total.
3 4+ saves for the Tyranid Prime. Made 1, failed 2, it's down to 4 wounds.
And they have to take a leadership test, which they passed.
And that will actually get me 4 victory points for the Tyranid Prime killing something.
And the Dark Apostles unit, and we're going to do a Dark Pact for sustained hits over here. I'll do the Apostle himself first, because he's got a 2 damage weapon and there's a Leaper on 2 wounds. So he hits on 2s. And with a sustained as well, so that's going to be 6 hits. And he'll be wounding them on 2s, because it'd be 3s normally. Strength 6, +1. So they all wound at -1. No 6s though, so no extra AP.
So these are all 5+ saves. I made 2, so that's 1 dead Leaper, 2 dead Leapers, and 1 Leaper on a wound.
I'll do the Legionary Champion, whose accursed weapon has 4 attacks on 3s. Only 2 hits, but one of them is a sustained. We'll be wounding on 3s because they're strength 5. 3 wounds at -2, and actually one of them's at -3.
With 6 pluses. Nope, there were 3 wounds, but I've already failed 2.
Another Dark Pacts. These are Leadership 5, thanks to the Dark Apostle. We're fine.
The Dark Apostle did kill a model, so that's 3 VP for the Chaos Marines. And that is the end of Tyranids turn 2 onto Chaos turn 2.
I didn't gain a command point, but I did gain 5 victory points for holding one objective at the start. Then everybody's moved forward. The Hellbrute heading towards the Psychophage, as are the Dark Apostles Legionaries. The Legionaries in combat with the Tyranid Prime have fallen back, but staying on the objective. But that did cause the Termagants to reactive move and get more of themselves on the objective too. And the Havocs moved towards that direction as well, mainly so the Tyranid Prime can't charge them and simultaneously take my home objective at the same time. I'll start shooting with the Havocs. We're going to put a crack missile and a las cannon into the Tyranid Prime, who has only -1 to hit in melee, and I am within 12 inches, so lone operative doesn't come into effect. While the plasma cannon, unsupercharged, the heavy bolter, and the chain cannon are going into the Termagants up there.
I'm going to spend a CP for hyper-reactive on the Tyranid Prime to give making -1 to hit.
And I'll spend CP for malicious volleys for rerolling 1s to hit, and I'll also do a Dark Pact for sustained hits 1. So let's start with the las cannon on the Tyranid Prime, hitting on a 4, rerolling 1s. It's a hit. Wounds on a 2. Yep.
4+ invulnerable save. Made it.
Crack missile, same thing. Yeah, that hit as well. And that wounded as well.
4+ invulnerable save. Made it.
Chain cannon into the Termagants. 3 rolling 1s on them. 6s are sustained. 7 hits, but 8 because sustained. Wounding on 3s. 5 wounds.
One of them's got cover in the crater, so he's got a 4+. He's dead. And 4 others made 2, so it's only 3 dead so far.
Heavy bolter, rerolls 1s, still into a 1, but sustained is 3 hits on 3s. Yep, -1.
6s, 3 more dead.
And 2 shots from a plasma gun, which hit once and wound with a -2.
So that's 7 dead in total.
And the Havocs have to make a test for Dark Pacts. They're fine. The Hellbrute is going to shoot at those Termagants as well, because if I kill even one of them, that gives me the objective back. D3 shots, 1. Hits on a 3, yes, and kills on a 2. Yes, does kill 1, but it is potentially hazardous on a 1. No, it's fine. And then we've got a load of bolt pistols from the Chaos Marines into the Psychophage. We'll just show the wounds, if any. Well, there is a plasma pistol in there, though, so we'll actually show that. It hit. Didn't wound. I didn't supercharge it. Did you get a wound from a bolt pistol?
3+ armor save. Made it.
Onto the charge phase. We'll do the Hellbrute into the Psychophage. Needs about a 6. Gets a 10. Makes it to there, and then the Dark Apostles unit will go as well. They're in with a 9. So they get in like that as well. No more charges, so we'll do the Hellbrute first. 5 attacks, hitting on 4s. Only 2 hits. I'm not doing any Dark Pacts, although sustained hits would have been good in that instance. Wounds on 3s with strength 14. I think I'll re-roll that actually. Yes, 2 wounds at -3 AP.
So 6s. Nope.
D6 plus 1 damage each. 13.
13, 5+ feel no pains for the Psychophage. It made 4, which is just enough for it to live. It'll be on 1 wound.
Then the Dark Apostle squad gets to go. I won't do a Dark Pact because I hope there'll be enough attacks here to do that 1 wound. Dark Apostle will go. 2s. 4 hits. He wounds on 4s, so it's only 1.
4+ save. Failed. That's 2 damage, so we've got to make both feel no pains. Nope, it dies. So that will be 3 VP for the Chaos Space Marines. Does it deadly demise on a 6? No. That is the end of Chaos turn 2. On to Tyranids turn 3. I rolled and got an extra command point, so I'm on 2 again. I need to make a battle shock test for the 2 remaining Termagants near objective 2, but they're in synapse range, so I get to roll 3 dice. So they're super okay with a 15. So over here on the bottom right, this unit of Termagants advanced, got them into that crater for a bit of cover, and just to get away from all those Marines. Barbulant's going to stay where they are. And in the top left, the Tyranid Prime flew over the Havocs to charge them. The 2 remaining Termagants are going to stay where they are just in case they get overwatched. And at the reinforcement step, I'm going to spend a CP for Teeming Broods, which lets me bring back D6 Termagants to that unit. And I get 3 back. So those 3 Termagants will arrive in that crater for a bit of cover, and I will be able to steal that objective, hopefully. We're going to start shooting with the Barb Gaunts. They're going to put everything into the unit of Chaos Marines on objective 3. So 5d6 plus 1 each, so 5d6 plus 5. 26 shots hitting on 3s. Oh, I got 23 hits out of all of that. Wounding on 3s. There's all the 1s and 2s. 13 wounds with no AP.
On 3s. Oh, that's quite a lot of fails, oh dear. That's 9 wounds going through. Well, it's just down to the Dark Apostle with only 2 wounds left.
Yeah, so those Termagants will try and finish him off, I suppose. 3 wounds from the termagants.
3 saves again. Made those.
Same thing up here. The 5 termagants are going to shoot those 2 legionaries. 2 wounds on the 2 legionaries.
3s again. Failed 1.
That's it for my shooting. So the only charge is going to be the Tyranid Prime into those Havocs. Well, I won't roll it because he's just going to go in like this.
But I will actually spend my CP to Overwatch with the Havocs, just because I have an awful lot of shots. And I can do a Dark Pact in Overwatch, because it's just each time they're selected to shoot and fight. And I think we'll do sustained hits, because most of the guns are high enough strength to wound him decently anyway. So basically any 6 I roll with Overwatch will actually be 2 hits. That's essentially what happens. So the las cannon, nope. A crack missile, nope. A supercharged plasma gun, I should have actually declared that before I started shooting. Does get 2 hits. They will be wounding on 3s. Oh no. A heavy bolter. Nope. And the chain cannon. Gets 4 hits, which wound on 4s. 3 wounds, no AP.
3 4+ saves. Failed 2s.
But they do have to make, firstly, a leadership test for Dark Pacts, which they fail on a 2, so we will take D3 mortal wounds, although I suppose, don't know what the order is, but the champion also might blow himself up. He does not, so we just take the D3. 2, we lose a Havoc. So we'll lose the las cannon, because I think it's actually the least useful weapon left.
6 attacks hitting on 2s. I only got 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. 2 wounds at -1.
2 4+ saves. Made them. And I will actually do another Dark Pact when they hit back, this time for lethal hits to improve their chance of wounding him, because they are -1 to hit in melee as well. So the Havoc Champion actually has 5 attacks with his Astartes Chainsword, which hit on 4s. Oh no, they just all missed. And then 3 attacks each from the rest, also on 4s. We get 3 lethal hits with that though, with only 2 normal hits that wound on 5s. Oh, okay, alright, 5 wins from the normal chaps.
5 4+ saves. Even if I re-roll, he's dead, so Tyranid Prime goes down.
But they have to make another leadership test, which they pass this time.
But that's going to be the end of Tyranid's turn 3, on to Chaos turn 3.
So I did gain an extra CP and 10 victory points because I hold 2 objectives at the moment, but the Dark Apostle is technically below half strength because he is a 3-man unit and he has a leadership of 5, so he's alright. The Dark Apostle's just going to hide behind the crate. Not very heroic, but discretion may be the better part of Valor in this case, because otherwise he's going to be chasing termagants that can reactive move, and here, at least, he holds Objective 3, which is the one that's worth victory points at the end of the game. Hellbrute, meanwhile, is going to move towards Objective 4, because I don't think the Tyranids will be able to shift it if it gets onto there now, except by weight of termagants, potentially. But at least it could go and take it and force them to do something. And over on my end of the board, the Havocs are moving back towards my Objective 1, because if I kill a unit of termagants, they can come back onto the board anywhere near a board edge with teeming broods, so they're going to go and prevent that, while those Chaos Marines are not going to move, because if they do, the termagants will just reactive move away from them. And I'll start the shooting with those Chaos Marines, because that's their only target. No Dark Pacts here, because I don't want to lose any models.
But I will spend a CP for hyperreactive.
So 4 bolt gun shots on 4s. Well, they all missed, that helped. And the heavy bolter, which didn't move, so it would be hitting on 4s anyway, with sustained on 6s. Just 1 hit, wounds on 3. No. The Havoc's only real target is those termagants as well, and they're the ones holding the objective. But I think I'll do malicious volleys with them to reroll 1s to hit, and no Dark Pact either. So we will do a frag missile though, which will be d6 plus 1, because there's 5 of them. 2 on 4s rerolling 1s. 1 hit, no wound. Non-supercharged plasma is only arranged for 1 shot, which hit. 1 wound at -2.
Some in the crater, so got a 6. Nope, 1 in the crater dies.
Heavy bolter on 4s. 2 hits and 2 wounds at -1.
So 5+ for the guys in the crater. Nope, so they're all dead.
Finally the chain cannon on 4s rerolling 1s. 6 hits and 3s to wound. 5.
5 for the 2 remaining. Fell 3, so they are all gone.
That just leaves the Hellbrute, which is going to shoot the plasma cannon at the Barb Gaunts. D3 plus 1, because there's 5 of them. 2 shots on 3s. 2s again, because their toughness 4. Just 1, -3 AP.
So 4+ place, so got a 6+ save for a Barb Gaunt. Oh, I made it.
And is it hazardous? No. Finally, the Hellbrute will charge the Barb Gaunts.
Yeah, and it can fight them over the barricade, so it doesn't have quite as far to go as it might look.
But a 7 will probably be enough anyway.
Yeah.
So a 7 was enough to get in engagement range, and then with a pile in, we're in base contact and on Objective 4.
I think I'm going to spend a CP for hyperreactive, because Barb Gaunts are an infantry unit, and hyperreactive does work in the fight phase.
When it completes its charge, though, it will actually spend a CP for the Tank Shock stratagem. The version of Tank Shock presented by the magazine is the one where you roll a dice equal to its strength of its melee weapon. For every 5+, that's mortal wounds, so there are 14 dice with the 5s. To a maximum of 6, which that will actually cap at 6, because there are 6. And then in melee it has 5 attacks hitting on 4s. Well, but still, it wounds on a 2. Yes, just about. So it does d6 plus 1 damage.
So that's 1 dead. And the Barbgaunt fall back and didn't do anything particularly. And I think we can call the game there. I think Chaos has pretty good control of the board. I can bring back a unit of Termagants, but realistically, they're just going to be an annoyance. Maybe I can stop Chaos getting Objective 4, but I'm already behind, and they're going to score 15 next turn anyway. So we'll call that a Chaos victory, and we'll recap that for you now. So that was our game for issue 64 of Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol magazine. How do you think that went?
Pretty well. After an initial terrible round of shooting, when I killed 4 Termagants with my entire army, actually it worked out alright. There were a couple of key points that it did swing my way. I think probably when the Leapers charged into those Chaos Marines and only killed 1.5 and the Dark Disciple. In fact, that might have been the only occasion I can think of. I think that was actually quite a big turning point. Even if they'd survived only one more turn, it would have meant those Chaos Marines wouldn't have been able to go and help out in the middle. They would have been less far forward.
Yeah, I guess I'm not too surprised the Tyranids struggle with Chaos. Generally, when we play against the regular Space Marines, the Tyranids tend to win just because of their sheer numbers, and the Space Marines can't be in enough places at once, but the Chaos has more flexibility in that respect. You've got the Havocs, who are actually a long-range unit who can sit at the back and do stuff. The 2 Chaos Marine squads, if you split them up, are flexible enough to go and contest multiple objectives and tough enough to survive, and then the Tyranids can't really deal with the Hellbrute. Space Marine Terminators can get whittled down. The Hellbrute probably is just too tough, and with a 2+ save, there's just a lack of AP in the Tyranids list. So even though your shooting was very poor, I think that is more of an anomaly. You've definitely got counters to everything.
Yeah, and compared to the regular Space Marines, we have had games where the Terminators have wiped out pretty much the entire Tyranid force eventually, but they've just lost on points because, as you say, the Space Marines can't control the board. Whereas, yeah, the Chaos Marines have the Havocs and then also the long-range part of the Legionaries unit, which can whittle down the Tyranids as they come in. And they're not so susceptible to being tied up in melee by the Tyranid Prime, who usually just attacks the Infernus Marines with the normal Space Marines and keeps them busy before they can even shoot with their flamethrowers.
And you've got Dark Pacts as well, which definitely allows even the non-melee Marines and the Havocs, that can help them punch up against the Tyranid Prime or even the Psychophage or the Leapers. And the Dark Apostles +1 to wound again helps. If you've got the full unit of Marines, you could do Dark Pacts. I'll probably go for lethal hits. You can overwhelm the Psychophage, I reckon.
I also think that this board helps in this matchup for the Chaos Marines as well. I think if we were going along the long edges, you could keep the Psychophage away from the Hellbrute, for example, just by deploying it afterwards. Because the Hellbrute's really slow, that's its main downside. But when, on a board like this, it can basically just be in the middle and it can go whichever side it needs to be. The only thing it can't do is hold an objective against a huge amount of Termagants. And actually, if they did attack it in melee, it would take a while to kill them, because with 5 attacks sitting on 4s, you can make it 5s with hyper-reactive. It will actually struggle to kill them in melee.
Yeah, and it can't actually shoot its own gun to help it out either. I think the Havocs were definitely the better choice for this scenario. I think if you'd taken the Terminators instead of the Havocs, Terminators would probably, again, just march up the board. They'd probably still struggle against the Psychophage, because I think the Chain Fist is only anti-vehicle, but you've got the Hellbrute to help with them.
Yeah, the Loyalist Terminators can punch up against anything using a combination of stratagems and Oath of Moment. The Chaos Terminators aren't quite that good, but their firepower's about the same, and the Tyranids still going to have trouble dealing with them. I still haven't seen a scenario where keeping the Chaos Marines as one unit seems to be the optimal choice. I suppose it does make your Dark Pacts potentially more efficient and your stratagems as well, but most of the time having 2 independent battle line units, I think this kind of board deployment would be the most likely case you'd keep them as one unit as well. Whereas on a long edge deployment, you want them spread out more.
And this style of deployment is also probably ideal for the Parasite of Mortrex over the Barbgaunts, but I think basically the same reason for the Tyranid Prime is that it could potentially have tied up the Havocs, but I think there's a decent chance that they'll beat it in melee, just because it's got fewer attacks, and again with Dark Pacts you can get lethal hits through and its armor save isn't that great.
Yeah, and although this mission did reward you for taking your opponent's objective at the end of the game,
you need to be around at the end of the game.
Yeah, you've got to have the durability. For the same reason I didn't take the secondary objective to have a unit in your deployment zone, because the army's so slow that this deployment type is...
I mean, you got there by the end of turn 3, I think.
Because the secondary with the Dark Apostle killing things, he did actually get 6 points out of it this game by finishing off some model, or by killing a Leaper and finishing off the Psychophage, and the Tyranids are a good opponent for that secondary as well, because he can potentially pick off Termagants with his bolt pistol.
And obviously we got the first half of our Neophyte unit, which we'll talk about in the next issue when they finally show up. But otherwise, if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.